Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to read a very entertaining article, which is titled, Gen Z Paralyzed with Fear of Turning 30, Becoming Unattractive Hags, Life Might as Well End at 22 years old. And a shout out to Dave for sending over this article. And guys, like the title said, this is all about a study, or what is becoming more and more apparent that Gen Z, specifically female Gen Z, let's be honest here, are really freaking out and losing their minds about turning 30 years old. Because, they're not going to be where they want to be in terms of family or goals or job or house. But most importantly in this article, their looks. And it gets to some very ridiculous things pointed out and attitudes out there. And I thought it'd be a very funny one to go over here, aside from it's always funny to make fun of Gen Z. I know there's some cool Gen Z bros that watch me here, but you know what I'm talking about here. But I'm specifically talking about the gals. How ridiculous is this? That life is over after 30, blah, blah. It is nuts. But on a serious note, guys, many of you guys have been watching me for years have probably heard me many times say the number out there, the most feared and hated number, mathematics, that women hate and fear is the number 30. Right here, 30. Why? Because they know that their physical prime is the late teens and 20s. And once they hit 30, they know that they will be perceived that, well, that's it. Which, in my opinion, is ridiculous. Because, and I'm going to say this, I'll be 100% honest here, there are damn good-looking women in their 30s and 40s and some in their 50s. It's not the same as the prime in their 20s. They still look darn good as long as they have the discipline and hard work and make sacrifices to take care of themselves. Healthy diet, take care of their skin, hit the gym, cardio, weights, all that. It ain't over. It's not as easy, but it ain't over. But these types make it out to be. And this is why, guys, I tell you all, your relationship guys, be careful. Be careful of the girls in the late 20s because many of them, like in this article, panicking that, oh crap, life is over at 30 if I don't have a ring on my finger. They will rush into relationships. They will find a guy who they wouldn't have given the time of day to when they're younger. You know about this. And put on the charm, which usually isn't too hard, and rope in some sucker and make him think that she loves him so she can have a rock on their finger, and this guy gets screwed. It happens often. They freak out over 30. And amongst many other things I'm going to talk about. So anyhow, guys, it's important one reinforcing that 2 points there. So anyhow, I'm going to go through this one, and you guys are going to get a laugh. Says here, age before beauty, question mark? Absolutely not. 30, flirty, and thriving is apparently no longer the holy grail for teens and 20-somethings online. Those born between 1997 and 2013 are expressing grim concerns about hitting the big 3-0, a milestone that some of these youngsters fear will immediately zap them of their sexiness, stamina, and overall value. I can hear the guys in their 50s, 60s, and 70s being like, oh, for God's sakes. Being quoted, this gal says, in just the past few days, I've seen multiple Gen Zs, the vast majority women on various platforms, including Reddit and Instagram, express a desire to unalive in their 30s or when they reach 40 because they cannot handle the fact that they will age and become quote-unquote unattractive or become hags. An alarm whistleblower recently penned to Reddit's PSA thread. Yes, you heard that right. They're talking about ending it or not wanting to be alive past 30 or by 40 because God forbid, you know how ridiculous our maker's probably like, are you fucking kidding me? You fucking kidding me, you assholes? You want to die because of that? I have an idea. How about take care of yourself? But we all know darn well where a lot of this attitude is coming from. The BS they follow and learn from on social media. My God. Some have expressed not bothering with healthy eating anymore, saving money, or planning on having careers because they feel so strongly about this. Continuing the scandalmonger, presumably a member of the Gen Z demographic. That's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Therefore, I'm going to stop eating well and stop exercising and doing all these things, and then I'm going to look like shit anyway. This is so stupid. But again, this is the fear of 30. I don't think this is necessarily our fault, the insider continued. Well, typical women and accountability. But I do see and recognize in myself a fear of aging, and instead of there being a psychological and social movement to combat this, we simply turn to consumerism to try and fix the problem. Well, they always go to consumerism. The Reddit ranter went on to refer to the recent uptick in anti-aging products and trends, such as getting baby Botox and covering themselves in face tape, that have been virally adopted by beauty buffs as young as age 10 who hope to ward off wrinkles, lines, and sags. Age 10, 10-year-olds doing this. This is why kids that young should not be on social media falling for this stupid crap. And some places that actually have a brain are making it these young kids can't get on that. Are you kidding me? The movement to remain forever young is being charged by both folks in their early 20s and teeny boppers on TikTok. TikTok, the epicenter of stupidity, a wretched hive of scum and villainy, not just the bar in Mos Eisley. On the Buzzy app, hashtags such as hashtag anti-aging with over 8 billion views and hashtag Sephora Kids, a stamp with nearly 222 million views, used by makeup lovers to gripe about the influx of elementary schoolers flocking to cosmetic shops for skin rejuvenators and collagen boosters, are an all-time trending high. Elementary kids? Really? Who benefits from all this nonsense? The retail stores that sell that crap. The manufacturers that sell it. Are you kidding me? Again, this is the generation. We need to do better for ourselves and for younger generations. The anonymous mouthpiece implored on Reddit. Skincare should be something we do to prevent cancer and to make us feel good, not another tool to try to fit into this patriarchal mold. Oh, blame the patriarchy for all the stupid behavior. No, I blame just young people being idiots. I blame their parents for not actually paying attention to their kids and what they watch. And yes, we can blame definitely some of the social media companies that hire PhDs from Stanford to create algorithms to rope in some of these people here. Let's be honest here. But yeah, that is what is going on. Thank God I don't have kids. But if I did have kids, they wouldn't get roped into this shit. Not my kids. But what a freaking mess. But again, this is definitely the most narcissistic generation in history. It absolutely has to be. It goes on, and the folks of all ages eagerly agree that the panic of getting older is getting out of hand. Oh, for goodness sake. What's the life expectancy now for men and women? Come on here. And it's all over, again, because about their looks. If you take care of yourself, if you're good with your food and all that, you don't need to do all this stuff. Everybody's going to age. Everybody. I don't have the same skin I had in my 20s. I don't have the same lot of things I had in my 20s. But I do the best I can taking care of myself, and it is what it is. Narcissistic a-holes. But again, guys, this is my point in the beginning about the big fear they have of 30. And while they'll rush into things and rush to guys, and you got to be careful. So much of my generation basically views life after college as one long, pointless, depressed downward slide towards a nursing home and death, wrote a fellow Gen Zer. In the minds of many young people, life might as well end at 22, because what even comes afterwards? Working nonstop, taxes, wrinkles and health issues, losing your hair and your friend network, and your free time. It's a very dark and reductionist worldview, but it is definitely pervasive among Gen Z. I'm going to read that again. This individual is bitching and complaining about having to work full-time and pay taxes, amongst all these things. Where do they expect the food on the table to come from? Where do they expect the roof on their head? Oh yeah, mom and dad. The bank of mom and dad to take care of everything. The national bank of mom and dad. This is the problem with mom and dad not raising their kids and preparing them for the real world. They have this attitude. This is why these brats are going to be living with mom and dad until mom and dad are 102 years old. And mom and dad will be raising their kids. Listen to those parents out there, this attitude here. For goodness sake. A handful of millennials, Gen Xers, and boomers blame the internet for inciting the aging phobia. Well, there is that part, absolutely. But also their parents not being parents. I work with some Gen Zs, and they've had very warped, depressing view of what it's like to be in your 30s before they met me and other millennials in my work. I think social media has really screwed with their heads, a commenter chimed in. Again, Stanford PhDs and PhDs from other places have done their homework to make the algorithms to recommend certain things, and then just the addiction studies have shown that these things are addictive, and amongst many other things. And I again say parents aren't doing their fucking jobs. And these young kids should not be on these social medias. People glorify being in your 20s way too much. Ultimately, it's just one decade and it doesn't last long. wrote another one. This feels more like a quarter-life crisis about mortality and facing a new part of your life. I freaked out about that too when I neared 25, but I didn't have a pervasive social media culture drumming that into me as an equally miffled user. I feel like aging to Gen Z was being fat was to millennials. Remember how ruthless the media was and everyone was about that, another one noted. However, for some 30-year-olds to be, their worries about becoming a decade older aren't rooted in angst around losing their looks. Instead, they feel intimidated by the pressures of adulthood. Okay. Yeah, when I was much younger, imagining that was definitely, but it didn't make me panic, And again, if you have good parents that prepare you from adulthood, not for la-la land, you're going to be all right. But parents don't parent anymore. They're too fucking busy looking at their goddamn smartphone. You all know what I'm talking, and stupid shit. Here's why I'm so scared to turn 30 this year, confessed NYC influencer Nicole Ashley to a TikTok audience of over 29,000. She says, I think I grew up thinking that before 30, I had to have my shit together. I had to have a great job, the most perfect relationship, children. I had to have it all together. And that honestly is just not the case. Nobody's going to have it all together by a certain point. That's just nonsense, But what was this girl doing in her 20s? Was she trying to build a meaningful relationship with a good guy? Settling down? No, I think we can all imagine what she was probably doing, given the fact that she calls herself an influencer and is a TikToker and all that. I don't know what she looks like, but I can speculate. A fellow Gen Z named Gabriella echoed those sentiments in a separate post, writing in the closed captions. She said, I'm 29 years old. The fear of turning 30 is getting to me. I have no kids. I feel like I'm running out of time. I still don't have my life figured out. I'm missing something. And that's exactly the type, as well as the other one, that you young guys got to watch out for. Because they're going to panic. Oh shit, I'm 29. How many stories have I covered, guys, on all three channels about these gals rushing into things and pressuring the guy because they're panicking? Be careful of these types, guys. They're predators. But ladies online who've already reached age 30 and beyond are urging their successors not to freak out. Thank you. One says, I'm in my mid-30s. I stress about my birthday every year. Admitted to NYC beauty influencer Ivanka Djonking. I can't pronounce her fucking last name. In a confessional clip, saying oh my God, another year older. I should be at this place in my life. I don't have a house yet or kids. But it's a privilege to live another year. As she said, it is a privilege to live another day, and it's a privilege to be alive. Life is precious. Well, thank you, Ivanka. Finally, somebody isn't a total moron here. So there you go, guys. I'm not done yet. I'm gonna read the whole comment section. You guys can imagine all the comments from guys like us. I'm gonna read a few because they're funny. But the point is it's ridiculous. And yeah, I know when you're young, imagining being, I remember in my freaking teens, the idea of being 50 seemed like fucking ancient. Seriously, my uncle turned 50. It was like, damn. Now turning 50 is like, shit, I'm still young, goddammit. But it's ridiculous. And a lot of this, in my opinion, yeah, you can have these certain views when you're younger, but a lot of this comes just from, in my opinion, a combination of just a bunch of morons out there following other morons online and TikTok and Instagram and all that, but also bad parenting, not preparing their kids for their world. That's why a lot of them are freaking out. Ridiculous ideas of what they got to accomplish in a short period of time, and amongst many other things, Again, I said, and I make it clear, yeah, I joke around all the time about the used car lot. You buy a car and you drive it off the lot and immediately loses value. Well, it's kind of like that with gals once they turn 30 in terms of the dating marketplace. But in reality, whether a gal is 29 years old on Tuesday and on Wednesday she turns 30, nothing's changed. The public perception's changed, but still, you can have women, if they take care of themselves and eat healthy and exercise and are disciplined and don't get ridiculous with the makeup and all that, they're going to be just fine, It is easier when they're younger, yes, of course, but come on here. But this idea, I want to end my life at 30, it's all over. Get the fuck out of here. But again, guys, bigger picture here. The lesson is be careful. There are a lot of guys out there that really didn't get a lot of attention from the girls in high school and college and in their 20s. But you got a job, you're making something yourself, you got some income. Be careful of the ones that are going to be suddenly giving you a lot of attention. It's not because they suddenly matured or anything like that. They want a ring, and they see it as a sure thing. If nothing's changed about you, If you're still the same guy that you were in high school and college and all that, you haven't improved yourself. If you were like, really overweight and you still are, or if you're really skinny, look like fucking, Napoleon Dynamite or whatever, and your personality hasn't changed, but you have an income and you got some money, and all of a sudden girls paying attention to you, it's because they see as an easy source to get a ring on their finger. Be careful. On the other hand, if you are doing well for yourself and you've transformed your body physically, if you had shortcomings, if you're overweight, you got in shape, if you're super skinny, you got strong, you got yourself some social skills, you take care of yourself, and you got resources, and they're paying attention to you, that's a little different. But if nothing's changed about you, and all of a sudden they're circling around you, be careful. Extremely careful, because you're going to have divorced. They're doing it because they're panicking, just like here. So a little takeaway and lesson from this little article here. Now, for fun, some comments. One guy says here, newsflash, Gen Z ladies, every generation before you had to deal with the same crisis. You're not something special and need to accept the reality. Thank you. Another one, this guy says, because they'd rather live in their parents' basement until they're 50 years old and never be responsible to make an actual adult decision. Nope, it's much easier for mommy and daddy to wait on you hand and foot, do your laundry, pay your bills, shop for and cook for all your meals. Can't possibly share the space with a couple roommates, and God forbid, they actually have to work a full-time job. I fear for the future. It's not like all are like this, but many, many of them are. Yes, many are not there are plenty that are not like this. And there's also plenty, particularly guys, that would want to have a job and all that, but they're having a hard time now. Understandable, but they're going to be okay. Fucking helicopter flying over me. Another one says they banged scores of men, and probably some women too, plus betted a few diversity points to show how woke they are. Now they want a guy to treat them like a virginal queen. Forget the tons of risque pictures forever on the internet, and the dozens of meaningless random tattoos all over themselves. And how many we got here? A couple more I'll do. Another guy says here, welcome to social media, Gen Z, where you drink the Kool-Aid of all the algorithms feeding you what you must do, and where you must be by a certain age, and what you have to have by then, and you keep working towards that goal instead of living your life and looking around the world around you and realizing how you're being driven like sheep toward what? Nothing except to spend more money on more product and clothing and stuff that doesn't matter except to the companies who buy those same algorithms. Are you waking up? Exactly. And this is a good one. It says, ha ha ha, as a boomer, I saw my generation go through this in the 80s. They thought they'd be young forever because they were the youthquake of the 1960s. The ones who are supposed to change the world with their peace, love, sex, and rock and roll. Don't trust anybody over 30. Then we were 30, then 40, then 50, and now even the youngest are 60. Oldest are 77. Time happens. Age happens. Nobody stays young forever. And thinking youth is the only worthy part of life is nihilistic attitude that won't do you well. Amen. Let the older person share the wisdom here. So there you go, guys. It's pretty funny. I like listening to these morons whine and complain. And the article just addresses Gen Z. But let's be honest, who are they really talking about? The girls. Because all over the article, they're all picture of girls. They're the ones crying about and carrying on about that. And again, yes, we all know once you hit 30, it's going to be perceived differently, but it's not the end of the fucking world. I know some people disagree with me, and that's fine, but that's what I think. But again, guys, be careful. Be careful for the ones out there that are rushing to settle and they don't care anything about you. There are ones out there. Many guys watching this, sadly, were victims of that. And you may be too if you're not too careful. Be honest with yourself about why this girl is suddenly after you when she wouldn't give you the time of day when you were much younger. Gals like this. And again, the most feared and hated number, mathematics, 30. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And guys, you find a good article you want me to cover, or a good story you want to share, or a question you have, send it my way. strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. And if it's a good one, I'll definitely cover it. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.